Hi everyone, let's go over my bullish and bearish Elliott wave scenarios on Bitcoin, starting with the most bullish scenario where we have a finished ABC 3-wave corrective structure and look for continuation to the upside. Now this means that on a 4-hour time frame, we are looking for an impulse to the upside in the blue count, which is then a wave 1, 2, 3 continuation. However, there is two problems for this particular scenario. First of all, wave 1 has to be a 5-wave structure, not a 3-wave structure. There's a very slim chance to count this as a 5-waver, 1, 2, 3, small 4, 5, but it is not really something that has the highest probabilities in this move towards the upside here. Second, your wave 2 is over 7 times longer compared to your wave 1 in time, which significantly reduces the probabilities that this is a 1, 2, and you look for a wave 3 to the upside. Now, because this impulse in a 1, 2, and then a 3 has low probabilities, it also means the probabilities go down for a finished zigzag here in an ABC on the daily time frame. The only alternative that you can have would be a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and a wave 5 to the upside, a bigger diagonal, but it is way too early to start talking about this diagonal. Doesn't make any sense. You need to wait for at least a wave 4 to be in before really starting to talk about a scenario of that shape. Then we go to the second scenario on the daily time frame, which is a WXY. So we have a W, we look for X, and then a wave Y. Now this one has higher probabilities than the ABC I've just shown you. However, it is still on the lower end, and that is because a triangle in a wave Y is the least common structure in a wave Y. So in a sideways a WXY, what you see over here, a WXY, a ranging structure, wave Y can have 3 forms. A zigzag, a flat, or a triangle. A triangle being the least common out of the 3, but it is still a structure and something we have to pay attention to. Now on the 4-hour time frame, this means that we are then looking for an ABC to the downside, because as you've seen just now over here, we are looking for wave C, right? We're looking for wave C in this triangle, but it has to be a 3-wave structure, then a D, then a E, and then continuation. So inside that wave C, we then have to look for a 3-wave structure, a 5, 3, 5 ABC. Wave B either finished over here or looking for a bigger wave B. Doesn't matter, as in both cases you look for price to move towards the downside anyway, where at the moment if wave B is in and we put wave B over here on this high, then your target is 54k to 52.6k, nicely in confluence with the lower support area here as well. The only scenario where wave B is not yet in would be a flat structure, where you then have wave B over there, and then we have a W, X, and then a flat A, B, C in a wave Y. Now mind you that at the moment locally price is moving down on high volume, right? So before thinking about such a move to the upside, we need to see market structure changes, consistent bullish CVDs. You need to see some sign of strength before looking for a B up. And beside all means, after then a finish B here, you still look for a move down in a wave C. So in the end, the probabilities remain higher to look towards the downside. Then we have to cover scenarios where we take the 49k low, because the bulls are running out of options. Their scenarios are reducing in probabilities pretty much every day. And now on the chart here, we have another WXY, but this time in wave Y, we look for a zigzag, W, X, and then a wave Y, looking for A, B, C, where either wave C already started, and we look for continuation to the downside, or we are looking for that bigger WXY as mentioned at the beginning. So a W, flat in X, and then a wave Y, which from a psychology point of view would be quite hilarious, because you move to the upside, preferably wave C in ABC here on a high amount of volume, not take the high. People think, oh, we go all-time high. Oh, here we go, right? 100k next. And then everyone gets baited once again, and we move to the downside, continue the trend of lower highs and lower lows. How nice would that be? So in this case, at the moment, if wave B, however, is this high, this is your target area 44.1 to 39.1k for your wave C. Then of course we have our most bearish scenario, which is an impulse to the downside. In this case, we continue to much lower prices. This is still actually a bullish scenario. Yes, you take the low at 49k, but after wave C, you look for continuation of the trend. In this scenario, you do not look for a continuation of the trend. You definitely look for a big trend reversal. 1, 2, 1, 2, very big 3 to the downside, easily much lower prices. However, this particular scenario doesn't have the highest probabilities because your wave 2 in green here touched the 886. The wave 2 price action, I should say, touched the 886, which is a very rare target for a wave 2 and therefore reduces the probabilities for this scenario where you have a 1, 2, 1, 2, very deep wave 3. On the lower time frames, however, in the final 2 daily scenarios, so if you look for a wave C to the downside, part of your wave Y, or if you're looking for your most bearish scenario, a big wave 3, you want to count an impulse to the downside on the lower time frames. In this case, we then have a wave 1, 2, and you look for a continuation to the downside if this is a finished 3-wave move towards the upside. So in this case, we then have a 5, 3, and we look for a continuation to the downside. Of course, alternatively, just like with that yellow B, your wave 2 here might extend to another higher high over here. So A, B, and then a wave C, but at the moment not relevant. We don't see any local signs of strength. So at the moment, your invalidation is simply this high. If you take out this high, the invalidation moves up to the high we had here at about 65k. But in this case, what you're looking for is impulsive continuation. You want to see a wave 3 to the downside, minimum target 48.1k, but a wave 3 can easily extend. So we then have a wave 1, 3 wave 2, and eventually a continuation to the downside in a wave 3 to much lower prices, and then later see a wave 4 and another 5. Now, nothing necessarily goes in a straight line. It is no problem for price to create multiple 1-2s. So 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and create a bit of a grind to the downside before seeing a bigger drop. So if you then finally look at the probabilities of the different scenarios, and at the moment on the daily time frame, the probabilities are higher for the bearish scenarios to take out the low at 49k compared to the bullish scenarios where we are looking for impulsive continuation, right? Or the triangle at the moment, because even for a triangle, which is the scenario here in a bigger WXY, you look for A, B, C, D, E, even in a triangle, preferably, we wait for D to be in before becoming more confident about the triangle. So it's difficult to really give it the highest probabilities because we're still working on a C, which in this case should not even be finished, right? So it's difficult to give the highest probabilities to the WXY and the daily, which is one of the bullish scenarios. A big diagonal being a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as mentioned, is way too early to call, right? And then we have the 1, 2, which basically means 1, 2, 3, but I explained why the probabilities are low. First of all, 5-wave structure versus a 3-wave structure. And then second, your wave 2 is very long compared to your wave 1. So at the moment, the probabilities are higher. We're looking for corrective structures, right? And therefore, probabilities higher on the daily to take out the low at some point. On the 4-hour time frame, we are still looking for price to take out this low sooner or later, either continuation to the downside, or if you do get that flat and then A, B, and then a C, you still look for price to move down later anyway. So these are the probabilities for the daily and the 4-hour time frame. And we do have some news this week, right? So make sure you trade safe. Also today on Wednesday here, 4 p.m. Central European time. So make sure you trade safe. And yeah, thanks for watching this video. Hopefully it was helpful or valuable to you. Please check out the brand new complete Elliott Waves Guide playlist I've made that shows you all you need to know about Elliott Waves. Thanks for watching and subscribing, and I'd like to see you at the next one. Bye bye.